All right, folks. Maybe I'd like to see around if anyone has any questions to start with. Otherwise, I'll get started because there are plenty of questions for each of them, I'm sure. Anyone in the audience? I see a hand raised there. Can we pass the mic?
Thank you very much. I'm Deepak Waikar. My question first to Milind, and then others can also come in. Is emotion double-edged sword? Okay, you are making a case with emotional intelligence, you may be more successful or whatever it is. So my question is emotion double-edged sword? Do you agree? If yes, why? If you do not agree, why not? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Actually, I don't really understand what you mean when you say it's a double-edged sword. What is the... So double-edged sword would imply there's an advantage and there is a risk. What is the risk that you see? Yeah, sure, Peter.
So you may not know it, given my previous talk, but this is one of my research themes, is cognitive immunity, cognitive defense. Emotions are indeed a double-edged sword. I completely agree. What happens first thing in the morning? You wake up, you roll over, you check your phone. If you've got a whole bunch of notifications to clear, what a dopamine rush. I am popular, I am loved, I am busy, look at me. Companies love this. My colleague admitted to me the other day, she got pulled into a game, and it's one of those idiotic loot box collection games, complete dopamine hack. Her emotions are being manipulated to provide the commodity of her attention. The scarce resources of a person's attention are being competed for by companies, and those companies use every technique they can possibly use, including emotional manipulation. What a perceptive question. Thank you very much.
Okay, since Peter clarified that, yeah? Okay. So we have we have this habit of thinking of everything in our context because that is the only context we've had till date. Unfortunately, that is not going, that doesn't always work. So when we are talking about machines having emotional intelligence, the exact behavior we need them to show can be controlled. Yeah? This is, you understand that these are trained machines and trained according to what we want them to do and what we don't want them to do. Yeah? So when I was talking about a machine that is able to form emotional connections, it is very different from a human displaying emotions. So yeah, it can be definitely a double-edged sword, but it's a product that is in our control, and we have the agency to control what kind of behaviors we want it to exhibit.
Sure. I'll ask the next question because I'm just going to tilt it to another direction. It's for AspenTech and Emerson. You made some very interesting points regarding the carbon capture and sustainability getting interlocked with the artificial intelligence. And I think that was the topic that was being raised earlier also. This issue of energy consumption and so on was coming up. So how are you tackling this, or what is it that you are seeing from product's perspective that's going to evolve more and more towards carbon capture?
Yeah, I think with regards to carbon capture, we are still seeing a lot of research interest and prototyping interest. I think customers are looking at, if we cannot reduce the emissions sufficiently, we will need some kind of geoengineering, which is where carbon capture comes in. We do have customers who are actively using our solution to help them to simplify or to understand where are the risks in those projects. There are significant risks because some of the technologies are well known, some not so. And I think there are some ambitious projects that we have seen. For example, one that's led by Korea, which is, they call it Project Shepherd. They're looking at sequestering some of the carbon dioxide within Korea in Petronas. I think Petronas has been fairly active out there trying to look for partners who will be willing to make use of their oil fuels or gas fuels for that purpose. So there is a lot of interest going on, and also with regards to green hydrogen as well. And again, some of technology has been templatized that allows our customers to move forward and move faster to make a decision. So we hope to be able to be that catalyst to bring about sustainable green hydrogen and sustainable carbon capture.
Sounds good. I have a question for Subcon. Mercy, one of the topics that you mentioned was around supply chain and optimization being a key area where you're seeing industrial AI play a key role. Do you want to expand on that as to what is it that you're seeing with clients and so on?
So that would be a little bit of technical question. So supply chain is a very, very big area.
Mm-hmm.
So we are focusing on very practical, like daily operation of the aspect of the whole supply chain management. So from your warehouse simply, and from your ordering for your spare parts, ordering for your stock level, to optimize those kind of day-to-day KPIs is a very essential work. We have a lot of traditional systems to take care of it from all the traditional vendors. And now because all those behavior, all those actions can be abstracted into data, and since they're very practical, and so we can truly develop a small or let's say a medium level artificial intelligence script to run and optimize a process and replace human-driven decisions. To be more specific, for example, a warehouse, like how many forklifts are required for a warehouse. This number is not as big as you can, so there is a sweet point. If you want to figure that out before you literally build up a warehouse, you can simulate this. And after you build a warehouse, there's still a way to observe the whole flow and to see where is the sweet point is. So underneath, there are reinforcement learning and simulation driven by AI.
Thank you. I'll just open up again to the audience. Any other questions?
Sorry, can I just add to
Yeah,
supply
sure.
chain? I think one of the things that we have as well in terms of when we look at supply chain is the reliability of the forecast for demand. I think what we have done is we've looked at various algorithms that forecast demand and having historical data and how that fits in terms of data. And what then is which algorithm do you choose? Or do you do multiple algorithms? And what we've done is we look at multiple algorithms with the historical data, find the one that's best fit, because different products have different seasonality. Some works better, some don't. And which is the best fit, or is it going to be a combination that the AI will decide, and then we move forward with that and doing that forecast. So that is all part of leveraging what AI can do today. It's still functional, not as far-sighted as what Milind has discussed.
That's fair enough.
I maybe add to what
Carry
that.
on.
I think just to align the execution and planning, as I pointed out, so we need a unified model that can actually align the planning, scheduling with the control. So that is what we are actually working with Aspen together to actually align the planning and operation execution sides. Yeah.
That's good to know. Peter, you mentioned about the very, very detailed use case, and how you have already taken this forward within the company and organization, and I imagine it's going to be implemented across a lot of the fracking plant, drilling sites, etc. How do you see this evolve into the organization behavior, or do you see your organization take this into other directions? Because you've got a wide mandate, right? You're trying to implement AI across a lot of different areas of the organization.
Yes, yeah. So I'll interpret that question as more general adoption of AI across the BP group. And the BP group, anyone heard of BP before? It's a very small, it's a household name. They do so many things. BP is also attempting to lead the energy transition, and that involves building entire new businesses. Now, in a 100-year-old company, 100+ years old company, the temptation would be naturally to let's just apply 100-year-old business processes and copy-paste them to a whole new business. This makes absolutely no sense in the 21st century. BP would like to build a hydrogen business with modern business processes and business principles. We would really like to not employ people to be human middleware, copying things from one system to another system because the systems don't talk. So there is a lot of excitement about the potential of digital in general and AI in particular to solve problems of interoperability and just inefficiency. So we probably won't have an AI CEO for a while because my job depends on me never ever admitting that that would be awesome, but it's something that you need to consider, that AI can take the place of decision-making capability and make consistent, explainable, transparent, non-emotional decisions.
Fair enough, fair enough. I'll open the next question to everyone in the panel. I mean, all of you come from, variety of backgrounds, especially in consulting and transformation, and you've all lived through previous digital transformations, if I can say that's previous. How do you see this AI wave play, or where do you see the worries? From general organization change management perspective, or from detailed product launches perspective, and so on? I mean, feel free to tell me from your perspective whatever you think so. On artificial intelligence, what do you see in
start with this one. I touched upon this topic also briefly in my presentation. But so this is my perspective on this. AI is a scale technology. It enables scaling in ways which were not possible earlier with normal IT, coding, or any other existing technology. And like all new transformative scale technologies, it will have the same impact that we saw, similar impact that we saw when, for example, assembly line became a thing, or IT and computers and digital transformation became a thing. Incorporating scale technologies in an organizational workflow requires fundamental redesign of the workflows, of the skill set required, and organizations themselves. This is the story of digital transformation. And you need that because otherwise, organizations are already built to handle the work quantity and complexity that is coming in. If I may take a minute to give an example from early 1990s when I actually had this conversation with a person in accounting. They had, the company had just bought new desktops for them, and it had been sitting there on his desk because desktop, for 3 months. I had this conversation that, excellent, you have a computer now, you are becoming a digital company. How useful is it? What are you doing with it? And this was their actual response. This thing is useless. It takes 5 minutes to boot. Then I open an Excel sheet here. I have this paper with all these numbers that I have to make re-enter everything here. Then I can do some sum, etc. And I have this calculator. I can do that in 1/10 of the time that I need to do with the computer. Can you imagine an organization working without Excel sheets today? How did we reach here? It required IT consulting departments making lots of money, yes, SAP transformations and whatnot, as is process mapping, to be process mapping, change management, continuous change management, agile processes, all of that, new frameworks being invented so that this scale technologies benefits can be realized in an organization. And all of this added cost, questions like, whenever such a technology comes up, asking a question like, how does it help me reduce cost here, are not very useful, because it added cost. It added thousands of or hundreds of IT employees, CTO, CIO, this, that, yeah, CDO now. What it does is it reduces the per unit cost of your product. You have to be able to scale up to reduce the per unit cost. This is where the benefit comes from. Yeah? So we have to go through this with this completely new kind of scale technology. We will again go through somewhat similar transformation journey across industries.
Thanks. Anyone wants to add anything to that?
I think the part about scaling is what we are seeing. And I think the speed of how AI allows scaling to move even faster, even wider, it's actually quite amazing. Some of the things that even internally that we are introducing to the customer, that cycling time has become shorter and shorter. And that allows customer to adopt the technology faster and realizing that value faster. So to your question, yes, it is. We are seeing that transformation going on. We are seeing a wide adoption of digital solution, but there is still a need to get the transformation to move faster. And we think that AI being embedded will definitely help that process.
Thanks. Folks, any questions from the audience? Anyone? Everyone seems rather quiet today. Okay, let me ask another question here. Maybe it's more around, for example, Mercy, especially for you. You mentioned about, a lot of things that were changing in terms of how the programming is happening and so forth, where, you're taking examples of applications, custom applications and so on. Do you see anything happen that's like a next generation leap happening because of these changes, or something that is catching your eye from R&D perspective that you think, hey, that's a leap forward from what I've seen even like 2-3 years ago?
I believe the leap is already happened. And now it's already, we already passed through the 0 to 1 stage. Now it's 1 to n.
Mm-hmm.
I see two things. First is the large language model to form application, simply as that. So I believe the future of software engineering is going to be fundamentally different than now. And definitely this will affect OT, affect industrial software as well. Because in the past, we need to invent frameworks and programming languages to abstract different layers of APIs and of hardware and software resource so that we can in a more human readable way to compose them. But now we don't need to care about this complexity. We just throw out our demand, our requirement document to the artificial intelligence, and the large language model is going to come up with a perfect code. Although now we still need to slice this workflow in different pieces, and it seems that it's more tedious than writing code by yourself. But some point of the time, we will reach there, because we already don't need to care about the complexity, because the RAM of human brain is so small, but the RAM of a LLM is so big. So I think this is a changing point for software engineering in general. And another thing is data-driven optimization, or soft sensing, or AI-based autonomous control. There are different ways to call this method of running a physical plant or factory, but it's already happening. It's already happening, and we see the power of the AI algorithm behind the scene, that it has the generalization capability. That means one model, maybe it can fit particular process, maybe CCR, and we feed in more data to it, and it can suddenly fit another process. You don't need to change the backbone and model underneath. Of course, it's not going to be a purely time series model. Some techniques is required, but this generalization means in the future we're going to have a cross-domain model, or maybe very, a very giant one. Maybe you can cross multiple domains. So many domains covers the whole life cycle of a process industry company. I think it's already, we already see the future. It's a matter of time. So I think this two fundamental, changing point, we're already past it.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to end this one on a slightly different note. Would each of you or any of you would like to talk about what are the key worries or obstacles you see coming up because of these transformations and so on over the next 6 months to 1 year? Any fundamental obstacles that you think can stop all this innovation or processes we are going through? Any one of you who wants to take it up?
Okay, well, it's important to be first in this because it's, to me, really obvious is resistance to change, is fear of change. AI is coming, we're all going to lose our jobs. This is a really fundamental blocker to enthusiastic adoption of every new cool idea that you come up with. People want it to be safe. People want it to augment their capabilities and not be replaced. And companies do themselves no favors by talking about let's reduce our headcount, let's reduce. If it's framed in terms of we can do so much more with the people we have, that is a much more gentle way to hint at the fact that everyone is going to be more productive. So I see that as the blocker, and I won't say any more because I have 4 other colleagues here who have to also come up with a point of their own.
Fair enough. Anyone wants to add to that?
Yeah, coincidentally, I think just about a month ago, we were introducing this AI-driven scheduling solution to the customer. And the immediate response from the customer across the table is, so after we have this, what am I supposed to do now? No, we said, no, it's not going to be about, because what you're doing now, you're spending 6 hours of 8 hours trying to understand whether the data going into your model is correct. We are trying to free up that 6 hours. So that then you start looking at what can we look at in terms of whether the vessel will be late, scenario planning, and which are the other options that I have. So we are trying to move that decision closer to you, and you don't have to spend 6 hours of 8 hours time going through that churn of, is the data correct, is my model accurate, but then looking at the model giving you results and go whether that's reasonable, whether I can execute that. If not, let's rerun it, or what are the other parameters that I can start playing with. With a virtual advisor saying, this is the results, but you can try and tweak this and see whether you get a different outcome. And I think a different outcome is what we want. We don't want to lose our customers. Ultimately, we still want to have our customers.
It still needs to generate revenue. Any final thoughts, Milind?
6 months to 1 year might be a really short period to offset anything. There is enough inertia across organizations anyways. And this is definitely the first question people get asked. Yeah? In fact, one of the top consulting companies, partner of that, last month told me, one of the top companies of Singapore, CEO asked, okay, so how many people can I fire once you do this? And this is why I also hinted this is the wrong way of thinking about scale technologies. But, and a hint is here, Microsoft has positioned their products in a brilliant way. And this is probably with this present level of technology, co-pilots are the way to go. Yeah? With the issues with reliability, with hallucination, with other things, while we are developing the product to become more capable, the emerging way of working with AI is with co-pilots. For some tasks, AI takes the lead. Once the AI is done with their part, the human takes the lead. And together, they complement each other's capabilities. Reading through 10,000 pages of document to find that particular information is extremely tedious, yes? But checking whether what was found and the deduction drawn is reliable, is correct, is something that we can do better. So this co-pilot way of working and redesigning workflows at the moment seems to be the right way to go. And of course, this will keep evolving as the underlying product keeps evolving in capability.
Thank you very much, everyone. On that note, I'll call this session complete, and we can take a coffee break. And folks, a big round of applause for our speakers for doing a wonderful presentation, giving us a lot of food for thought.